Welcome. This is our sixth, seventh show. It's been quite a long one, and
Yeah.
wow. So welcome everyone. Hello, whatever you are in the world now. Today we have Kervin with us. So we're gonna do as always. We're gonna play his show real quickly, so you guys know a little bit about his work before we join in, and then we're gonna let him present himself a little bit better than us. Okay, let me just share the screen quick. There we go. We should be able to see. Nice. Oh,
Lovely stuff. Thank you.
yeah, it's
Thank you.
amazing. This style is amazing, man.
Yeah.
So before we start, can you introduce yourself? Who is Kervin to anyone doesn't know you?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Kervin Brisseaux. I am an artist and illustrator and a director based in New York City. I've been living in New York City for, geez, almost 15 years now. Originally from upstate New York. So depending on who you ask, technically not a New Yorker. You can call me a New Yorker by proxy because I'm married to a Dominican woman who was born and raised here. So that's great. Um, As far as my experience, yeah, stay mostly within the illustration space. I have a range of experiences into fashion, graphic design, a bit of animation, lately character design as well. And lately I've also transitioned into the corporate space working as a design director. So yeah, so it's been like a range of experiences throughout my tenure as an
Wow.
artist. Yeah.
All right.
Wow, it's quite a lot. And I also saw you also photographer as well. You have another website where you take
Yeah.
pictures as well. So it's
Yeah.
quite a really nice mix as well. And a
Yeah,
DJ,
yeah.
no?
Yeah, I mean, the longer you get to know me, you realize I'm a man of many hobbies because I don't like to sit still creatively.
Yeah, I see the 1210 in the background.
Yeah. I mean, it's been the DJing thing has been a labor of love for sure. I don't do it as much anymore as I would like. It's definitely something that kind of kept me alive when I was in grad school, just like kind of paying my way through my education and then maintained it as a hobby. And to be honest, my brother was the one who kind of took that baton and just ran with it. He's working
I was
as
going to say,
a
wasn't
resident
it?
DJ in New York City.
I
Yeah.
was going to say, wasn't
Wow.
it? Something you did with your brother as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so does he? So
It's a funny
do you do like
story.
do you do like back-to-back records, or like what's the deal?
So I've only dabbled in the vinyl space. I mainly stay within like the CDJ space and DJ controllers. I actually learned on DJ controllers first and foremost. My brother has been once he kind of saw what I was learning and took it and made it his own thing. He DJed through college. He's become like the full-on
Wow.
turntablist. I mean, I'll put you guys on. It's incredible. He's got a range of sort of TikToks, a range of experience kind of playing globally as well. Like
Oh, wow.
playing random parties for certain celebrities. And I mean, I don't know how he does it, to be honest. He's clearly more of a business savvy networking individual than I am. But yeah, it's incredible what he's been able to do with it. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
That's
So,
amazing.
so how did you get your start? I think you studied architecture first, but did you like were you like how did you pivot to like design and illustration? Was that something you always did on the side, or that kind of side of things?
Yeah, that's a good question. So organically, it was always a part of my interests, like just really young, as most of us, right? But
Mhm.
what really got me into illustration and graphic design specifically was when I discovered digital art and like what that space was. Like I had a little sketchbook, I drew, that was fine, but I was really intrigued by this sort of new medium. And I didn't really discover it till late into high school, going into college. And I became obsessed, just kind of practicing, experimenting, getting a legal version of Photoshop, which was, a thing that we all did.
Dude, find me a
Yeah.
designer who didn't get the same start like that.
And the crazy thing is that when it came to like actually getting into the weeds of doing it professionally, I started freelancing for illustration, still studying architecture in my grad school years. So this was maybe back in I want to say 2010 was when I landed my first sort of freelance opportunities in that space, illustration work. I remember exactly it was for Axe body spray. It was a pitch project.
Nice.
And then I didn't win the pitch, but it gave me like an appetite for like, wow, this is actually something I can pursue a career in and not
Mm.
necessarily just stay within this architecture thing. So long story short, after I graduated and the market was horrendous within architecture, I decided to pivot, revamp my whole portfolio to focus on illustration, graphic design, and but at the time I was trying to emulate the greats in the space for me, like looking at a lot of my contemporaries, people who have been in the space for a while, people like Chuck Anderson, for example.
Mm.
The Deathcore Collective obviously was something that James, you and I share
Yeah,
as
we'll
like a
touch
part
on
of
that
our
in a minute, I think.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a very organic, haphazard adventure to kind of get to where I'm at today.
So when, like, obviously, like, for your family, like, when you say, oh, we went to school for architecture, that's quite an easy thing to understand. So when you pivoted, like, what did they think? Because it seems, when you go into like the design illustration space, it's for and it probably sounds derogatory. I don't mean it in a derogatory fashion, but for the older generation, it's a somewhat abstract concept.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
what did the family think? Were they like, okay, or were they like,
Well,
gunning for you as well? I would a bit
well,
apprehensive.
it's interesting because my dad had a clear vision of me being a Haitian man, like he wanted me to get into like something that was guaranteed success, doctor, lawyer, you
Yeah,
know the spiel. Like that's common
classics.
now. The classics. And that didn't interest me, honestly. Like it just didn't. As much as I tried to convince myself that it did up until high school. But when it came to switching from architecture, overall they were quite supportive of it. My dad always felt like I should at least give architecture a chance because I had spent so much time, money, focus learning it. Um, but at the end of the day, when the pivot happened, it also came down to survival. Like no
Hmm.
one was hiring and I just needed a way in. And I thought to myself, if I was going to commit to, a labor of love that would take a while to penetrate, I would rather it be something that I knew wholeheartedly that I was interested in, and that was illustration and graphic design. So eventually they saw the light. My mom was always a bit more supportive to her credit, but my dad had a bit of like not necessarily rejection, but more like an
Yeah.
apprehension of, is this the
More
way
worrying,
forward?
huh?
I mean, this is what you studied. He was more sort of trying to think more sort of staying within a box, if you will, of like what my trajectory could be.
Yeah, I
And
guess like previously, architecture, whatever, it's a proven career path, whereas this still
yeah,
needed to prove itself, as it were.
100%.
But it's
Yeah,
100%.
interesting.
it's
So your background is Haitian.
Hmm.
So does how's that affected your style, your illustration? Because obviously, like Haiti is known for like just bold, colorful, like statement art and all that kind of side of things. Have you found has that weaved its way into what you do?
Today, yes, and it's became more of a conscious effort. Like honestly, the fact that I am a Haitian American, stylistically, that didn't really influence my style so much in my earlier days. It was more like what I was consuming through media that inspired
Yeah.
that. And
hmm
so you look at the typical tent poles, whether it's anime, music, sport, fashion, like those types of things, video games, especially when it targets a more nostalgic space for me creatively is where I like to stay in. But lately, I would say within the last maybe 5, 6 years, I've been having this moment of pause to kind of see how I can make my work a bit more sort of personable and not necessarily ownable, but just something that kind of comes from like a place or a story that belongs to me and not necessarily someone else, right? Because a lot of
Yeah.
times, work is all derivative. That's
yeah.
unavoidable. It is what it is. But as far as like the story and what drives it, and even down to the aesthetics of it, it was more of a conscious effort lately because I wanted to tap into that as a new way in that I haven't done so before, to kind of keep the work interesting and to kind of make
Hmm.
it more personable, you know?
Do you
So
Yeah, I
think
mean,
also as old you get, do you feel more connected with that? You're trying to explore more? When you're young, you're trying to fight more against? Because it's the same, like I'm Brazilian and I've been living here like for a long time. And you're trying, the older you get, the more you connect to your roots and trying to bring them more. Do you think
mhm.
there is a connection with you as well?
Yeah, I think so too. And you know what else really drove me into that space of trying to find that more cultural connection is having kids and
mm,
just
Yeah,
kind
it's true.
of being like, huh, I kind of got to a point where I wanted to create artwork that my kids could see themselves in. And
Hmm.
so I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? And then it just became this sort of internal reflection of, okay, the kind of work that I was doing, is it resonating? If not, why? And like, how can I find a niche or a space that, that even my kids can be like, I connect to this in a certain way. So
mm.
that's what kind of sparked it. And
It's nice.
then it became more ownable the more I kind of stayed in it, you know?
It's quite interesting, like
Wow.
the dynamic of afterwards after you've had kids, because I think we've all gone through a similar thing where you basically you kind of delve back into your childhood, and then you kind of think about how you can impart some of your childhood onto your kids, so that
Mm.
that they've got that family lineage and the family history, and I don't know, kind of starts building their little personalities and things like that. It's quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, geez, like especially with my oldest now, she's 5, almost 6, and it's like I'm just salivating to like get her more into the things that I did growing up, from
Mm.
the playing the video games. I've already gotten her into watching some anime and like
Yeah, I've
just
got my daughter into
seeing.
Mario Kart already. Every
Oh
time there's an
yeah,
argument,
that's
we're settling every argument on Mario Kart from this point on.
it's the low barrier to entry, especially at her age. Like it makes it so easy for her to just like keep up, and I love it.
Yeah.
I just love how she's just looking in her eyes and seeing how she's like genuinely enjoying it. Like I'm not forcing this upon her, even though I kind of
Yeah.
started to. But like now it's just like it's something that she enjoys doing. She seeks it out. And it's great to kind of see a little bit of myself in her in,
When
in a in a lot of ways. Yeah.
when my daughter was younger, I think she was about 2. I gave her like a Nintendo Game Boy Pocket, but I took out the glass, took out the internals, and made it into basically a just a toy. And
Yeah.
that was like I'm indoctrinating.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, my daughter's obsessed with our Switch. I mean, yeah, that Mario Tennis. Got her
Mm.
getting into RPGs now that she can read. Like
Wow.
she's an
It's a good
amazing reader. Yeah.
it's good for inspiring reading. I think that kind of side of things. Maybe not quite
100%.
JRPG ready yet, but normal
No,
RPGs for
JRPGs are
sure.
dense. Oh my God. But no, she's already like she started playing a little bit of Chrono Cross. I mean, I stay with her and I read to her
Wow.
sometimes, but
Mm.
she'll play some Chrono Cross. I've gotten her into some Final
Oh,
Fantasy Tactics. Like,
Animal Crossing's good because it's obviously very kid friendly anyway, but it's also got a lot of text to read through.
true.
Sometimes as a grown up, it's a little bit annoying, but as a
Hmm.
kid, I think it's it's fairly accessible.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, yeah, I'm trying to find something that she can just kind of play that doesn't have like a high difficulty level,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
so that she can just kind of get lost in it, but still learn new things along the way. It's great. It's been good seeing her catching
Wow,
on.
that's cool. Yeah. I
I
think
was
the
just
Switch is always they all gain
mm,
love, It's the same going back to the Game Boy on
Yeah.
that
I
age.
was just thinking, like, just to kind of get back a little bit on topic. Yeah. So how did the work for like Wyclef come about? Because obviously, again, Haitian connection, was that one of the driving factors of it?
Yeah, I think that was a part of it. From the agency perspective, who briefed me in. Honestly, it was just like just a stroke of luck being at the right place, right time. I had an agent then, so that obviously helped with the visibility. I'm signed with BA Reps, and so just being on their roster, they tend to have a large sort of pool of connections when it comes to potential
Mm.
clients. And so when they reached out, it was just this, hey, we like your work. Great that you're a Haitian artist. Clef is coming out with a song that talks about, financial literacy amongst the Black community. Can you help out? And so it just became this real labor of love, because it was not only about creating work that tied to the song, but then creating like a suite of assets so they can build out this sort of visual world around it. So it appeared live on Jimmy Fallon on opening night.
Wow.
they use the toolkit in other aspects, like a website, for example. So it was really cool to like see Clef kind of perform around the work, not just like be this.
Yeah,
That's probably like the one drawback about working digitally a lot of times is sometimes you kind of just hand off these files and they just disappear into the ether and like sometimes you just don't
Yeah,
know where
it's
they
true.
end up, you know what I mean?
true.
But
True.
But
this
it's
was like one of the few projects where I was like, I saw the fruits of the labor based off of like seeing random examples of it on television and on YouTube and
well, you can be
Spotify.
like,
Like it was
see,
sick.
Dad, see.
Yeah, exactly. They were actually super proud of it. And Clef got on a call with us, so I got to meet him
Oh
like at
wow,
least via Zoom, which
No, that's
was
cool.
that was
man,
awesome.
that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. Top
So
five
Wow.
moments for sure.
so you touched on it earlier. I think we need to talk about like art groups and kind of
Mm,
like kind of the starting point because I think for those who don't know, Kervin and I met years ago at an art group called Depthcore, which came about through like DeviantArt and
hmm
Customize.org and all that kind of side of things. And this was way before social media. So I
Mhm.
was wondering, like how did that influence your growth and all that kind of side of things? Because it's quite different. Like you make stuff for yourself, then when you're a part of a group, you kind of bounce things around, and it's really nice. And you find. I think when we were that age, that was the first time we met other people who had the same interests and same
Yeah.
kind of creative. I don't know, like creative visions, I guess, in a way. So to
hmm
get ideas and to also to learn techniques, I think was quite, it's quite special.
100%. And I said this in the past, even with Justin as well, and like other people when we like start to reminisce about it. Like that was my proper education, like my first initial education into graphic design and illustration, really. Because at the time, because it was so new, but before Deathcore, I was just on like art forums creating like tags and SIGs and avatars for people, like just understanding the breadth of the actual programs that I was working with. Like my first digital program
Man,
was Photo Deluxe 2.0, and I was,
I kind of
jamming
forgot
on
about
that.
I kind of forgot about all that kind of like web forum SIGs and
Oh
things
my
like that.
gosh.
My God,
Yeah.
it's brought
That
back
was like
memories.
the obsession back in like
Yeah,
elementary school and high school. But Depthcore was like, not that I haven't had like feedback on things before. Like I've had feedback on like the shit little stuff I was doing. Sorry, can I curse? Like the crap
yeah,
little
so
stuff
it
that I was
goes.
Yeah,
doing.
that's fine.
Um, but Depthcore was like the first place where I was given like organized, very deliberate, succinct, hypercritical feedback that was in a controlled format and a controlled space that I can refer back to. And what was very special about it is because it was like a privatized space,
Hmm.
there was more of an opportunity to have one-to-one engagement with the critiquee versus like an agnostic forum where there's thousands
Hmm.
of people on it. Those it was very much like social media now. It's like they'll post something. You might try to follow up with them. They may see it, they may not. Like it was very sort of Wild West. Whereas in the depth core space, and I'm sure other art collectives operate similarly, that controlled private space made it feel like this digital
Hmm.
studio environment. You know what I mean?
Well, so
So
everyone was of a really good caliber. So I think that
mhm,
also, what they're saying is legit, and
mhm.
it's also from the right place. Like there wasn't it was never a rivalry. It was always we want to
No.
see everyone do well.
Yeah. And and
It's
and it
cool.
helped me to grow a thick skin too. Like I was getting that from architecture, of course, with that, but when it came to digital art, because it was such this precious thing that I was doing for myself and no one else saw it, to have people come in and like rip it apart was a growth moment for me. And be like, okay, I can definitely get better. Like, where can I get better? It helped me a lot.
Do you think that really help you on the professional way as well? Because like a lot of the young people
Like
get
client
so
feedback.
protective with feedback, and they feel so personal, and they
Mhm.
don't understand the feedbacks about their work as well, and it get so long until they understand and accept that, especially
Mhm.
going to the professional work.
Yeah, no, it's look, it's super important to have a thick skin in this industry. Like you
Yeah.
just can't avoid it. And you can have things that are precious to you. That's where like the art space is concerned. Like I feel
Hmm.
like it's even more important when it comes to design because design serves a function. And a lot of times, whatever the thing that you're making, be it an animation or an illustration, if it's designed to meet a certain brief or meant to be something that's outward facing, like you have to be open to the fact that this is now, to bring it back to kids, this is now a child that you're allowing to grow on its own. And you need to give it the agency to, as the camera, I don't know why my camera is doing that. It's so funny. It's like, I guess it's this new Mac feature or whatever. You need to allow the thing that you made to grow and evolve and to kind of inform the next thing that you make. So to be open to that allows for that growth to happen. Otherwise, you can't. You actually cannot improve. You'll just be designing in a silo. That doesn't help you. So
I was kind of wondering if there's also, I guess there's a little bit of crossover with all that, with like living in a city like New York as well. But obviously, one's digital domain and one's a physical domain. But like living in such a creative city around similar creatives is quite influential as well.
Yeah, I would say so. And it was even more impactful, you know, coming in right after school. It was again this sort of re-education of, you know, being not just an artist, but just a man, and just trying to understand what it is to navigate in the real world. Because up until that point of graduating from grad school, you know, we had this sort of cushion, this barrier of like being in school, like everything's sort of structured for you. And so now it's like, okay, I have these set of skills that I've acquired. I need to now apply that to survive in the real world somehow. And it was not an easy process, let alone in New York City. But again, it was about also kind of finding my people within that to help me continue that growth. And, you know, working at places like Vault 49 or any studio was definitely a good stepping stone for that. And I cherish that. I cherish that even when it's something that I'm working on for myself, I cherish that studio or that collaborative space, because those types of conversations is, for me, what makes the work continue to be enjoyable, you know, because you get that initial dopamine of starting the process and staying with it. But sometimes it's the conversations that, for me, keep me going on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like that they lead to different ideas that you'd never have thought of. You know, I love that aspect of development of the process. That's the bit I find quite exciting.
Yeah.
So
quick questions for you. You work about 9 years with Vote 49 as a full-time, and that you decide to move to a freelance world. How was that experience for you? What made you, you know, take that decision? Because a lot of people nowadays, you know, work full-time and think to go freelance, you know, and a few tips for anyone wanna to do that move as well.
It was terrifying, but it was a long time coming. I was never in a space where I had to give up freelance while working full-time at Vault, which was one of the great perks of working there. A lot of agencies are not cool with that, but Vault was like, as long as you don't violate any non-competes, freelance away. Nice. Like, because they understood that allowing their designers to do that, we would come back with R&D that would help improve the business, improve the scope of the work that we could take on. For example, not that this is a real example, but like getting into character design. Like no one in Vault at the time would be able to do that per se. But if someone would have come back and be like, hey, I spent some time, I took some courses, I did some projects, here's the work that I've been doing. Maybe this unlocks a new scope of clients that we can now bring in. And that's happened at Vault for sure, where it's like, you know, they would allow for a time, especially when the business was slow, for people to just go away and just like do some research, hit a museum, see what you find, play. Like when we were taking on the 3D thing a bit more internally, it was like, what could we do with this that makes this ours? And it unlocked a whole lot of things. So taking those learnings and then bringing it back to my freelance business, like I was able to navigate it in a way that allowed me to understand my value, that allowed me to understand like the risk assessment of what it means to take on certain clients when it comes to like new opportunities. So like getting into a space where I don't have a team like sort of backing me up, it's all me. So I was like, all right, if I take this on, what's the barrier or threshold to entry for me to actually succeed at this project since I haven't done it before? Like, what can I do before I say the yes? what do I need to do to get there? And so it was a lot of that, and it was a lot of having more agency in understanding my personal brand. Like I didn't really have one going into my freelance career. It was kind of agnostic of that. Like I would just kind of move with culture and be like, oh, photo illustration is cool. Let me try that. Da, 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 da. Like, I mean, it was just like, I would try to be this chameleon in my style to see like how I can fit into what's happening. And now I'm in a space where I'm like, I'm just going to make what I want. I just want to make what makes me happy, what looks cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it was an interesting journey. I stayed full-time freelance for almost 5 years before getting back into the full-time grind again.
Do you think like being freelance for 5 years has helped you with what your current, with your current job and current position?
Yeah, it's what landed me the gig, because there's definitely been this new focus to kind of find people who can not just sort of design and direct, or like design direct, but also actually execute the thing that they're directing. You'll have directors. I mean, we see them all the time and across a range of industries where like they have great vision, they'll know how to talk about the thing, but when it comes to actually doing the thing, then there's a gap in terms of like how they can technically bring their team to that level that they're trying to achieve. And sometimes they'll just leave the team to their own devices to figure it out. Whereas what gives people like ourselves an advantage, like James, if you were like, hey, we need you to direct an animation, here's a team, let's bring it to life, you would be equipped with the knowledge of not just providing a vision, but like the technical know-how to be like, actually, working at this frame per second, you want to make sure that you have your in-between frames like this, is that like you can get very prescriptive as a director, which is invaluable.
You've got that working knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm finding that that's really, really like rare.
Yeah,
like more rare than it
especially
should
nowadays.
be.
Yeah, especially nowadays. Yeah, I think it's a law. I was talking to my girlfriend today, and also she was working, and the director asked, "How can we have the first, the middle, and the end frame of the animation?" She said that's the full animation, She said, "I can't imagine how it's gonna be, but
motion tween.
You're directing something you don't really understand, And it is hard, and I see more and more nowadays,
I think it makes for a better creative when you have that working knowledge as well, because you know how things will work, and you can see how things will work in terms of if you're animating, there'll be an animation or illustration, or as a like an advertising package or what have you. So you've got that working knowledge, so you can make a better product, and it'll be more solid and just better thought through, I think.
Yeah.
And also save time, save money, because
you'll be realistic with your decisions as well, with your decision fixing. You're not going to like here's some direction, and it's going to be like impossible for the budget or whatever.
Or just try and see what comes.
Yes, exactly.
And in terms of when you feel like you need to throw your weight around too, because I've also found that people that are kind of in that space of they've been in this leadership position but never really acquire the skills to get there. They just know how to play the political game, for example. Like I've noticed that those actors tend to want to stay in that space of constantly feeling like they needing to be in the room, or like constantly, even for something as pedantic as like a small choice of like what's the font, for example. Sometimes like those inconsequential things to me are exactly
the
that.
micromanaging, man.
Yeah, like the micromanaging component to it. And I'm very much so in a space of, if I'm leading my team, I'm of a space of trust where it's like I know what fonts I like, but I'm gonna trust your taste in seeing this through. Like it's we're not curing cancer here. We're not putting out house fires. Like it's a very objective, not subjective space that we work within. So there needs to be a layer of trust in terms of those choices, especially those small, like pedantic ones. Like come to me for the vision, but when it comes to like those granular choices, if you need the technical know-how and knowledge, I'll help, but it's on you. Like the onus is on you.
But that's why you also hiring someone, someone
that's
then
why hire good people.
You think the idea is always trying to hire someone better than you, then bring something to the project. And if it's just like operators everywhere,
Yeah, it's also kind of links in with the collaborative aspect of being in the studio as well. Like again, like bouncing ideas around is the nicest part. That's what makes a project interesting. So yeah, you got to trust your team.
Yeah.
It's true. And touching base a little bit on AI,
Mm,
especially being an illustrator nowadays,
hmm.
AI, it is here, it's here to stay, and what is your view on that,
I personally have not found a way in from like my own style of work that I like to do. I've always kept it in the periphery as like an idea generator, if anything,
Mhm.
where it's like, okay, like I just see it as like a more advanced Google image search. Like when back in the day when I say back in the day as if it's like that long ago, but like when you're looking for stimulus, you're looking for like I need to find the right pose, or I need to find something. It's just I'm thinking like character design, for example. It's like
Mhm.
sometimes it's helpful, and I remember it's so funny when I would go to Adobe Max like every once in a while. Sometimes they invite me back, and I remember one Max. This was like right before the AI boom. Maybe this was like 2 years prior. And they were showing like something where it's like imagine stock images, but you type something and it might create the thing. They didn't know what it was called yet, but basically what they were talking
Basically, AI.
about was like what AI is now.
Mm.
And I was like, man, that's interesting because sometimes when you're trying to find reference, whether you're looking in a book or online, it can take forever to find the right
Yeah.
thing. I'm like, I have something in my head. I can't quite nail it yet. What is it? Or like, is this the right
Mm.
pose? I'm not sure. So I always was intrigued by that as a research tool. I think it's great. As a like end-to-end execution tool, that's not really for me. I see a space in it where it becomes like something useful for like adaptive work. So it's
Mm.
like here's like a graphic that I've done. I need like 12 examples of color options. Back in the day, we would do that one by one. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's automate that. I think that that's a super useful thing. So you can still focus on like the creation of the thing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
streamlining the pipeline is, I think, where it
Precisely that.
works out pretty well.
Precisely that.
But
Yeah.
not as a tool to replace creative, but just to bolster it. Like
Yeah.
that I think there's ways to use it to get new kind of like really weird ideas out there that you couldn't normally execute.
Hmm.
That's where it comes in quite fun. But
Yeah. Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
do
It's
stuff you've
it's
not done before.
especially when it comes to kind of getting out of your silo a little bit. Especially if you're working on your own, like it might
Mm.
not be as pertinent when you're working with a team, but when you're working on your own and you're like, I need to get outside of my box a little bit. Sometimes you won't have access to other people to riff off of.
Mm.
AI can be a useful tool for that too, just to like put out some stem
Explore,
for you
yeah.
to respond to. Um, I think that's fine. What the mistake that people are making with it is leaning on it heavily to the point where it determines the end-to-end final execution of the thing, which this is the mistake because then you're taking away the craft of the thing because all
Yeah,
you're
I agree.
doing is typing the prompt and expecting it to do exactly what your hands are meant to do, right? So like there's people that I've seen who have found ways to kind of blend, right? So it's like they'll start with the thing and then that'll be the starting point, and then they'll start to doctor it up to the point where it's almost unrecognizable, the original Genesis. That sparks an interesting conversation as far as like AI being a tool. But like
Quite
it
modern
being
art in a
like,
way.
what was that?
It's quite modern art in a way. Like
Exactly.
bit
Mhm.
Andy Warhol-esque.
Yes, yes.
You
And
take
there's going to
something, yeah.
be a threshold where it gets to that point. We're in the very early stages, of course. There's going to be a phase two to like how people feel about it as it gets more and more ingrained. And then there's the phase three, which is in a lot of ways where digital art came from. Like, my
Mhm.
gosh, like when Photoshop first came out and like how did traditional artists react to that, right? Like in terms
Yeah.
of it being a craft, was it respected? No, of course not. But then now it got to a point where,
Now we're used
we're
to it.
now we're used to it. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
gonna get there. How quickly it gets there, I don't know. But I think right now, what's important is that these conversations keep happening
Keep
because the
happening, yeah.
ethics of the thing is super important, more so than ever.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
when
I
you read
agree.
about all these like data farms that they want to build everywhere at the
Oh my
cost
God,
of
it's a mess.
it's ridiculous. Like the cost
It's a
of
mess.
not monetary costs, but like environmental costs, like taking up
The
all the
energy,
water.
the energy using.
And then you get cities like Flint who still don't have clean water after what, like 8 or 9 years now. But we're going
Yeah.
to build data centers to take up all the water out of California or wherever. It's like,
Yeah. There's
makes you
there's
question things.
so many other things outside of like what it does that people need to be talking about for sure.
Hmm.
Who knows what it'll look like in 10 years? Your guess is as
No,
good as mine.
but I
But
do I do kind of feel like some like various CEOs or whatever are just seeing it as like some kind of like silver bullet for making everything cheap and cutting down on jobs and all that. And I just don't think it's that. Like I think it's good at certain things like I guess in law, it's probably quite good for, more common cases, just because that's, very binary in a way, isn't it?
mhm,
This is this, and something happens. Or, anything spreadsheet related. So cross-referencing stuff with healthcare, that's where it excels.
mhm.
But do we really need it at this level? I just
Yeah.
don't think it's the silver bullet that a lot of people are making it
It's
out to
not.
be.
It's not. And let me tell you
When's it going to
something.
burst?
Like I've seen people dabble with it. I've dabbled with it just out of curiosity. And let me tell you something. It's not. The outputs that you get from it is not what it's all cracked up to be. And
Yeah.
and it's getting to a point now, and this is where this is crazy, where it's coming full circle. People who have gone the route of, or companies who have gone the route of furloughs for the sake of AI positioning
Mm,
are now finding that running the actual thing is more expensive than keeping the headcount. I mean, how rich is that? You know what I mean?
crazy.
So
Yeah, it's true.
it's like putting the cart before the horse again. It's like we don't know what we don't know about this thing. And yet people are like putting
They've
all
not
their
thought it
stock
through.
into the thing that we barely understand, you know?
I did. It has. I'll go back to the advertising side of AI and say, like, I think it does. It has a negative impact on the company that uses it too. Like, I know the average person probably don't care, but I saw an advert the other day, and I can't remember what it was for, but it was clearly AI generated,
Mm,
and it was on Facebook. So, and all like most, like I would say, like 80 or 90% of the comments were like AI slop. Well, I'm not using this because you've used AI.
mm.
It
But
represents it badly on the company because they've
but they're
obviously cut
getting a lot of
corners.
backslash now. Like Coca-Cola did it's the second year they did the Christmas commercial,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
and the whole sales dropped quite a lot after that
Well,
because
again,
everyone didn't want to be related to that. So the young
they
generation really rejecting the final product used by
they
AI.
also they misrepresented it as well. Like they're a
Mm.
part. Obviously, they did that for their marketing team, and their thing was like, "Oh, we've generated this advert using AI for hardly any cost." But what they didn't tell you was the team of visual effects artists who cost
To
what the
fix
original
that,
budget was to fix it. They
Hmm.
it
don't
costs
mention
more.
that
Yeah,
part. They just wanted to jump on AI bandwagon as an advertising
it's just a
tactic,
trend they
really.
think everyone wanna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This gets back to the ethics of the thing. It's like I feel like when it came out so fast that there was never a chance for us as artists to provide the guardrails to be like, okay, what
Yeah.
is this thing? Why? Because it didn't come
True.
from artists. It came
Hmm.
from someone from
Well,
whoever, wherever they came from. And it became what started off as like this fun little fad quickly became this scary thing of like, man, this could actually erase me. Like this could
mm.
literally erase all that I've built. Like it's scary. It's really scary. So,
I really want the AI bubble to burst so that it can get back to what it another formation of what it is going to be, if you know what I mean. Like get
mhm.
rid of all the hype and then with the bubble bursting and then it will find its form, whatever it really is meant to be. And I
Yeah.
think that'll put things back onto a good place and a good track.
I think
Yeah,
so
it's true.
too. Yeah,
It's true.
I'm very interested in the development of models that are meant to allow for self-scaling. So this protective thing that belongs to you and only you, that
Hmm.
allows you to, like we were talking about when it comes to things like adaptive stuff, having like this little assistant to help you adapt and like the function of the thing I'm behind. It's just the way it's being leveraged. I'm not. So there's a lot of ethics around it that need to be ironed out. And I feel like you're right, James. Like the bubble does need to burst to get to a point
It
where
needs to
it can get
reset
there.
itself.
It needs to
Yeah.
reset. It needs to reset. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Going back to your work.
Hmm.
So because for anyone see your work, you work with illustration, character design, animation, directing, fashion, typography. So it's quite a massive range of work. Is
Hmm.
it still something one of discipline you feel is still like a home base for you when you get back to that?
100% illustration. Like there's just,
Illustration.
if you told me I'm
Mhm.
going to lose all my superpowers and like I can only keep one, it would be illustration. Just that's it. Like I couldn't imagine not doing that. Um,
That's cool.
it's there's just something about it when it comes to the evolution of myself as an artist. When I look back, um, it always came from a place of I have a gap here within my illustration skill set that I'm lacking. How do I fill that gap until it catches up? To give you an example,
Hmm.
um, like a lot of my work, especially in the early days at Deathcore, for example, was quite character driven. Like I was always
Yeah, it
creating
was.
some form of like character stuff, but that came up from a place of an interest in in the medias that I was consuming, but I had no knowledge of like anatomy, like no knowledge of like shape, like what is shape language, like those very specific things that character designers learn. I lacked. It was just gut instinct that I was doing to like
Cool.
make the stuff that I was making back then. And then when I became more aware of that gap, looking at how my work was looking versus others, which you can't avoid, like you're always going to compare. I was like, man, I need to improve here somehow. First, it started with photo illustration because I loved working with the human form. I just knew I couldn't draw it that well. So I was using that as like a crutch to create a new style. But then eventually it just came to this place of I need to learn how to properly do the thing. And so part of the thing that I did when I finally became full-time freelance was to properly learn character
Yeah.
design, character anatomy, taking courses and just practicing like I was a mad scientist in a lab. And because of that, it was what allowed me to land things like the Tiger Beard project, where it's like this extensive character illustration. I worked with Colossal Brazil on that one, which is really cool.
Hmm.
Um, I recently did a couple of really cool projects that are under NDA. I cannot even sit disclose it now. I cannot. I'll tell you guys after. But there's like a lot of cool projects that I got to work on because I spent the time in the lab doing the thing, and it all comes from my passion of illustration. Like I couldn't let that go. That like there's just no way. There's just no way.
Do you see?
That's
I
good.
know it's kind of early days, but I wonder if you see any kind of like illustration passion like in your kids yet, because obviously
Uh,
it's they're gonna have
huh.
some passion just via osmosis.
I
Like
think
just
so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They keep seeing me on like on the iPad just doodling and stuff like that. And my daughter, to her credit, like what she's making, is what a 5-year-old makes, but
yeah.
she has a clear opinion on terms of how it needs to look. She's actually a very harsh critic on herself, which is for better or worse. Like I was like, okay, so you can tell when something looks off. So let's take time to practice it. So it's going to get to a point where she'll be my little Padawan, and I'll show her the ways of the Force, you know?
But
I have
it's nice
noticed.
what you're saying as well. Let's get some time and practice, and it
Mm,
feels like that comes from you take your time to study as well, because some people just get
Yeah.
frustrated and they just move on and try
Mhm.
different things instead of really go and say, let me learn this, let me crack on this and perfection this so I can apply the way I want as well. So it's really fun seeing what you're saying about your daughter as well.
Yeah, no, it's great. I
I
think
think
for me, what she's inspired me now to do is get back more into the traditional space a bit more. Like I can't tell you the last time I've been consistent in keeping a sketchbook. I've tried multiple times over the years, and I have like half finished sketchbooks all throughout the studio. But um, like getting back, holding a pencil, maybe getting to painting, like that's I think the next thing for me. Just kind of going back to the basics a bit. And my
just
daughter inspired me for that, for sure.
I think
Yeah.
one of the just think that one of the nice things of like practicing this stuff with your kids is like you're also learning from them because the older we get, the more rules we put into place. Whereas kids' ideas are very free flowing, so
Hmm.
it almost like it's imparting free flowing ideas your way, and you're imparting like I don't know like refinement their way or
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah,
But
I'm so jealous, man.
you're both
I'm so
learning.
jealous of my kids. Like
Yeah.
the lack of care in terms of how they put something on the page. Whereas I'm
Hmm.
like, every time I hold the pencil, I'm like, okay, it needs to look good. I still put that pressure on me to this
Yeah.
day, even if it's
Why did I
something for my
draw that line
daughter, you
there?
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're
That's cool.
getting
That's
probably getting towards the end of the stream pretty
y-
soon. But
yeah.
have you got a last question, or shall I ask a last question?
I have a good question.
Oh, wait, we've got two more questions. One for you, one for
Two
me.
more
Go for
questions.
it. Go
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
What is the project you haven't done yet, that
Oh,
you most want to do? Something, that feels the expression of everything you've been trying, because
Well,
you're trying so many things, what would be that project?
well, the question I was going to ask links in with that quite nicely. So we could do a 2-for-1 on this one.
Yeah, go
Because
for it.
I was going to ask, like, is there anyone you haven't worked with yet that you would really like to work with? And I think it links in quite well with what Thiago was
Yeah.
asking.
Okay, so in a way, I kind of worked with them indirectly because it was through a brand, but I would love to do like a suite of illustrative assets for like Arsenal. Because I mean, I'm
Really?
obsessed with that. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with Arsenal, man.
I
I
didn't know
mean,
you're obsessed with Arsenal. I mean, that explains the London trip.
yeah. I mean, look, like my dad indoctrinated me when I was really young. And it wasn't until recently, really, that I really started to appreciate the team for what it was, their history, their legacy, the Ian Wrights, the
Mm.
Thierry Henrys, there's so much history behind that team that I just adore. And the fact that my dad is a big fan as well, my dad means a lot to me. So it's just like, yeah, I would just love to do like a capsule collection with some like illustrative elements tied to it
That'd
for
be awesome. Like
Arsenal. That'd be a sick
It's
experience.
cool.
whenever I go down to London, the train goes right past Arsenal Stadium, and
Mhm.
they've got these like big flags outside with all whoever the star football players are. I think that would be
Mhm.
quite a fun thing for you to do, like just so that everyone sees it as they go into London.
Yeah, absolutely. And to piggyback off of that too, doing something in kind but for the Haitian national team would be
That'd
another
be
level
rad.
up. That would
Yeah,
be so sick. Oh man, that'd be yeah. Something
that's
within that
cool.
vein would be perfect. Perfect.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good. So I think that's it. I think that's the show. And man, thanks so much to come to join
Yeah. Huge
us,
thanks for
to
joining us.
Yeah.
It's really
Likewise.
good to know a little bit more about you as well.
Yeah, likewise. This is a great experience. I always enjoy doing stuff like this, especially when it's with old friends. So, James, thank you for extending the invite. Tiago, it's a
Oh,
pleasure to
thank you.
finally meet you. In
Pleasure to
case we
meet
haven't
you.
met in the past, I feel like we might have now. Now that you said that you
We
worked with
we
Paul,
probably yeah, we
probably did
probably
in
did.
passing.
Well,
Yeah,
next time you go see Arsenal, give us a shout and we'll go meet up for a beer or something.
Look,
yeah,
hold me
for
accountable,
sure.
but in the next couple of years, my brother and I, we're trying to fly my dad out to see an Arsenal game. So that's gonna
Oh, that's
be
cool.
that's gonna be a great like father-son trip amongst all
That's
three
gonna
of
be
That's
us.
amazing. It's gonna be
Yeah,
so
yeah,
amazing.
that's cool.
yeah.
That's cool. Thanks so much. Thank everyone else to join us. We're gonna share a few more info on Instagram as always about the next show. And thank you, and see you guys next time.
See you
Later,
later.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, we finished this stream, so we can talk.
Okay, NDAs.
Yeah.